Byron Maxwell made a huge statement saying the Miami Dolphins secondary could be great. Now, to break this down, and you have to break it down from the start, the failings of the Dolphins defense, especially towards the end of the season, statistically the worst Miami Dolphins defense of all time. And when you look at it from, obviously, if you're a fan and you know what you're talking about, if you look at it, the holes in the Dolphins defense isn't the secondary. The linebackers are such a big problem. Such a big problem. You look at the defensive line, it's really, really good. Maybe need somebody to start next to Sue who's consistent and can stay healthy. But other than that, if we re-sign Andre Branch, we'll have Wake for another year. He's got 1 year left in him for sure. Definitely can have another double-digit sack season. It wasn't the defensive line. I don't think it was the secondary either. Now, when you look at the secondary faults of last season, it was because of injuries. Rashard Jones goes down, Issa Abdul-Quddus goes down, and who starts in their place? Bakari Rambo, who's going to be huge depth. Dude, we've created, it's unfortunate that we had all these injuries, but some of the injuries were a good thing because we really found out if we had depth or not. Mid-season, the signing of, it wasn't mid-season. I don't know, it was sometime during the season, or maybe it was just before the season started. We signed Bakari Rambo, he did his job very well. He had an interception on Carson Palmer. He had a very solid year. But the point is losing Issa Abdul-Quddus, who looked like he was a straight beast, picking off Russell Wilson in his first game. He was covering receiver. He was helping receivers well. He was covering tight ends well. Issa Abdul-Quddus has always been a very good coverage safety. But then you look on the other side, you got Rashard Jones, who's, in my opinion, is the best all-around safety in the NFL. I don't even think it's close. I think Rashard Jones is the best all-around safety in the league, and if he's not, you cannot bring him down 3 more spots. He is definitely a top 5 guy, for sure. I don't think you can argue that at all. I'm just talking in general. Rashard Jones, best top 5 safety in the NFL. I think he's the best safety. So when you have a guy like that, which is extremely rare to find and so valuable in the NFL today because of how many times teams pass, then you look on the other side, you got Issa Abdul-Quddus, who's a very good coverage safety. Then you bring it down to the corners. Now the corners, again, were hurt by injuries. Byron Maxwell missed basically the rest of the season. Basically the last month of the season he missed. And then I think he actually did miss the whole. I can't remember exactly how many games he missed, but I think he definitely missed the last month of the season. Byron Maxwell started off pretty bad. It took him getting benched and then coming back to really get a fire started under him and kind of get his competitive nature back. He forced 4 fumbles, which is insane, which is something Byron Maxwell has always been known for. He forced 4 fumbles, 2 interceptions, and 15 pass deflections. That's one heck of a year at corner, man. So he's basically has 6 turnovers that he forced you, right? That's basically, and he had 15 balls deflected. That's an insane year for a corner. That's really good. Then you look on the other side, his counterpart, who's also obviously missed basically the whole year, didn't come back towards the end of the year. Played a little bit early on, obviously got hurt again. Got hurt in training camp, didn't have a training camp. Xavier Howard. Now Xavier Howard, just coaches rave about this kid. They think he's going to be the next thing, the big thing. He's the next big star. He's the next, lockdown cover corner in the NFL. He's got tremendous physical attributes. He's 6'1". He's long. He's athletic. He's got great recovery speed. He's a big guy. He's probably was the best tackler in his draft in terms of corner. He's a big dude, which fits what we want to do on defense. Xavier Howard's a very good cover corner. He had some rookie issues, which I think he's just going to get better. Excuse me. But he obviously he had his first pick in the playoffs against Big Ben. But yeah, I think Xavier Howard has a bright future. I'm one of those guys who thinks he is going to be the next best thing. I think Xavier Howard for sure is going to be he's going to be a number 1 corner. He's going to be a franchise corner for a very, very long time. And then you look at Tony Lippett. Now, Tony Lippett, this is an interesting, because Tony Lippett really came on late or early. I think November, December is when he really played his best football. He really caught on fire, dude. He was balling. Now, Tony Lippett, obviously a receiver from Michigan State. one of those rare instances where you see a corner or a positional transition from offense to defense being that successful. Tony Lippett played like a lockdown, not a lockdown corner. Maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but a very solid NFL starting corner. And Dan Campbell, before he got fired, or not fired, before he left us because he didn't get the head coaching job, left us for I think New Orleans. He said that he's going to be a future solid. He's definitely going to be a solid starter in the NFL, and he proved that this last past season. He had 4 interceptions. Hang on just a second if I can remember how many pass. I cannot quite remember. I think he had 10. I think it was around 10 pass deflections. So Tony, again, big corner, 6'3". I think almost 190 pounds. So he's a big dude. His arms and his athleticism is insane. If you remember his rookie year, I've never seen a corner. It's been a while since I've seen a corner chase down a deep post route from Tom Brady. But Tony Lippett, straight beast, man, straight beast. Now we're getting into the weakness of the Miami Dolphins secondary and where we may need to improve on. I don't know where you guys stand on this, but a lot of people don't like Bobby McCain. Now, Bobby McCain struggled his first season, and that was not his fault. We were starting him out of position. He was not, was not an outside corner. Obviously, he's too short. They say he's like 5'11". He's more like 5'9". Like, Bobby's not a big guy. He's very short. Extremely athletic, though. He's very athletic. So his natural position is obviously in the slot corner, nickelback, whatever the heck you want to call it. Which is probably the hardest job, one of the harder jobs in the secondary. It's very hard. It's very hard to find an elite guy like that, you know. It's very hard to find somebody who can play all positions, somebody like a Tyrann Mathieu or Micah Hyde. But Bobby McCain struggled last year, but that was because of obviously he was out of position. Obviously, we drafted him from Memphis. He had a lot of promise coming out of college, but the only thing that was really standing his way is size. But, you know, Bobby really struggled last year, gave up some big plays, gave up some touchdowns, but did not have that bad of a year. But despite his struggles, I think he's still learning. I'm not ready to give up on Bobby yet. I think he still has a bright future in the NFL. I think more question marks were raised last season, maybe more than they were debunked. I guess that's what you could say. So Bobby, just to go through the stats here, he had 1 forced fumble. Our secondary turned the ball. They were straight balling last season, man. I'm telling you, underrated. And 1 interception. I think he had a sack too. In terms of pass deflections, I cannot remember how many Bobby had. So that's Bobby. He's a big question mark there. Obviously, Mike Thomas and him were battling for that position for a while there. And just to go in more depth on the depth of the Dolphins secondary, it's insane. So you got Bakari Rambo, Michael Thomas, who's one of the better special teams players in the NFL, who's a very solid backup. And then obviously you have Tony. That's another thing, is where do you fit? Because Tony's an outside corner, he's not an inside corner. You could try it. I haven't seen it that much. I think we saw it a couple times, but I don't. We haven't seen it on a consistent 16-game season basis. But if, let's say, Byron goes down, he played so well. He had 4 interceptions. He played so well last season. He's got tremendous recovery speed. Showed that off against Anderson against the Jets. Showed that off in his rookie year also. He's got tremendous, tracking the ball down skills. He's got great ball skills. He runs the receiver's route for him. If you watch the tape on him, extremely smart guy. Always looking to get better. But Tony, it's going to be interesting to see where we play him. Obviously, that's going to be a big question mark. Another big question mark for the Dolphins secondary is, can we keep them all together, and how long can we do that? Because Rashard Jones, obviously, he's an impending threat, I guess you could say. He's kind of up in air right now. Because if we lose Jones, you're losing one of the best players at his position in the NFL. Now, not many NFL teams can say, I have somebody in my secondary who's arguably the best at what he does. And not a lot of people can say it. And also not a lot of people can say, I have somebody who can guard Gronk, check him. They can straight check Gronk. And he's done it his whole career. So now obviously Obviously, Gronk's not getting like locked up, but he's definitely probably. I mean, in terms of checking Gronk and doing a very good job at it, Rashard Jones is one of the best in the NFL. Not many can do it, and you can't obviously shut down Gronk. But getting off the track here, it is going to be it is a very big question mark what the future is with his relationship with us, and whether he chooses whatever we choose to do and how we go about it. That's a huge question mark because we've seen good things happen and bad things happen in this organization. So hopefully we can get that resolved. Now, is Byron Maxwell right? Can the Miami Dolphins be that kind of secondary that he had in Seattle? I don't know. I think it has a very good chance of being it. I'm not going to label that. I'm not going to, if I was him, I wouldn't have said that to kind of put that. Maybe it puts confidence, or maybe it puts pressure. You never really know. But it most definitely has the talent to be one of the best, I would say, secondary, top 5 for sure. Because that secondary had a lot of turnovers. And God only knows what they would have done if they were healthy. That just thinking about that is scary. We can definitely, I could see us being a top 5 unit for sure. But can we be the Legion of Boom? I don't know about that. That's obviously one of the greatest defenses of all time. But we can definitely be I think we could be a great secondary for sure. I think Byron is right in saying that this secondary can be great. Now, there's question marks with the future of some players. There's question marks of Bobby McCain and who's going to start there. Do we address that? We tried to address that a lot of the times. This past offseason, we tried to address that slot corner nickelback spot. Didn't all pan out. Obviously, some unfortunate. The kid from can never pronounce his name. The kid from Oregon, who ends up tearing his ACL again. But we try to replace. Hopefully, we can. I'm not saying Bobby's not the answer because I still think he could have some time to grow there. But maybe he's not the answer. Maybe we go out and find somebody who's a little bit more solid, and we know that is good at what he does, I guess, which you could say. But Bobby's the only big question mark in the secondary. But like I said, you got Xavier, Byron, Tony, who are all going to have bright futures in this league. Byron's obviously a little older, but Tony and Xavier have a very, very bright future. You got Rashard Jones, Issa Abdul-Qadir. So this secondary is very talented. And has some serious depth on it. We went through that with Bakari Rambo and Michael Thomas. So this secondary has a very, very good chance. I think he's right. I think he has a very, very, very good chance of being great. Now, will it be great this upcoming season? It has a very good chance to. If we can shore up the linebacker spot and maybe get a little bit younger at defensive line, I definitely think. Because we're very, very young in the secondary unit, and like I said, we have a very bright future. So if that all pans out, if we handle some things with some smarts and not mess it up, then this Dolphins secondary can be very great, very, very good, great for a very long time, for sure. So that's gonna be it, guys. I am Skaggs83. Let me know what you guys think about what Byron Maxwell said, and I'll see you guys